Hi, my name is John.
And my name is Lloyd.
And we're the hosts of The Pint,
a pop culture podcast.
Lloyd, if you had to tell any of the people out there that might be listening to The Pint for the first time about anything unsavory or disconcerting we might do on the show, what would you warn them about?
Well, sometimes we drop spoilers, and sometimes we swear like
motherfucking sailors. Fuck yeah, we do.
When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
They have murder boners for this kid.
It's already over budget, Mike.
Yeah. I put the Instagram of me watching the DVD the other night, and he's like, burn it when you're done.
This is a really bad IMDb summary.
Okay.
Yes, Dante's Peak is worse than Volcano.
Shut up.
Dante's Peak is worse.
You don't need to start fights here, John. Shut up.
It's dumb.
No.
All right, I get excited.
We're back, motherfuckers. This is our podcast now. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema's takeover of The Pint. This episode, we're highlighting a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the movie simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll be joined by The Pint's own John Amenta and Lloyd Green, and all of us will discuss what we love about the movie, or perhaps don't love about it. But we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy this episode, you can find more Forgotten Cinema on all podcast platforms. What's up, Butler?
Nothing much. Just living the dream, walking around with my guitar case filled with explosives and flamethrowers and machine guns and a guitar.
Ooh,
all of it, all the above.
Excellent. John, Lloyd, thanks for coming back. Thanks for letting us take over again.
You're always welcome.
Yes, for
excellent. Interesting to hear, Butler. Did you hear that?
Always welcome. We'll be at your house tomorrow.
Actually,
but this will be the last time.
One more. We'll do one more, and that's it.
No, we'll decide.
Fair.
So, Butler, what movie are we doing this week?
We're doing 2003's Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Return of the mythic guitar-slinging hero El Mariachi in the final installment of the Mariachi Desperado trilogy. The saga continues as El Mariachi makes his way across a rugged landscape on the blood trail of Barrio, cartel kingpin with one last score to settle, who is planning a coup d'etat against the president of Mexico. Enlisted by Sands, a corrupt CIA agent, El Mariachi demands retribution. This is the greatest summary.
The summary is as convoluted as the plot. Yeah. So real quick, I know we talked about before we got on, but what is everyone's history with the three films? I've seen all three, El Mariachi, Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico before it. Lloyd?
I have seen and owned Desperado. I really liked that when that came out. I'm pretty sure I saw El Mariachi before too, but I never saw Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Right. Nice. Very nice. I like that. John?
I've seen all three.
Nice.
Yeah.
Butler?
Saw this first in high school. I really liked it. And then when I learned about El Mariachi and how it was made kind of Evil Dead style, because I was like, so that one of the things that got me into wanting to do films, I went and in my school library watched El Mariachi, but they did not have Desperado. So I've never seen Desperado.
That's pretty sad.
I'll get to it. You own it?
I think I do own it.
Well, that's pretty sad. Oh, damn it.
If I own Once Upon a Time in Mexico, I think I own Desperado. The problem is that I take all my DVDs and Blu-rays, I throw out the cases. I have giant.
Oh, that makes me fucking crazy.
Wow. Oh, I don't like it.
Cases, I don't care if you like it or not.
So much extra.
No, I'm not saying I don't like it. What I'm saying is like I'm a collector.
Sure.
It bothers the shit out of me.
Can't take it with you, man.
No steel books in field test.
Can't take it with you. What are you going to pack it in your?
You can't take the disc with you either. Why don't you throw it all the fuck out?
John's grave is going to be lined with DVD shelves. Obviously.
That's right. I'll watch whatever I want. And you know what? It's not the cut version that you see on fucking Netflix. And they can't take anything away from you either.
Oh, my God.
22 episodes means 22 episodes.
So while John gets down from the soapbox, I will tell you that Once Upon a Time in Mexico has a runtime of 102 minutes. It's rated R. Production budget of $29 million. It came out on Friday, September 12th, 2003. Its opening weekend, it did $23.4 million. Domestic, $56.3. International, $42.4 million, which gave it a worldwide total of $98.7 million. So pretty good. Production companies were Columbia Pictures, Dimension Films. Remember Dimension Films? And Troublemaker Studios. Distributed by Sony Pictures, released in the United States. And then Miramax International through Buena Vista International for its international release. So
Disney.
Yeah, it's pretty much Disney. I told you it came out on the 12th of September, 2003. It went up against a wide-released Matchstick Men as John opens his beer.
Cider. This is a cider.
I apologize. Excuse me. Cracking One Open is next week.
It's this Wednesday, actually.
Oh, interesting. So, a wide release of Matchstick Men and Cabin Fever. I think everyone's seen Cabin Fever. Is that accurate?
Pancakes.
No, but I've seen Matchstick Man.
Matchstick Men's pretty good. Yeah,
I like it.
That might be one for the list.
It
It's very
Nicolas Cage.
might already be
Oh,
on there.
might already be on there.
I
If
Excellent.
it's
saw-
not, I'll put it on there.
I saw the list. It's probably on there.
Everything's on the list. You also had a limited release that week of No Good Deed, Lost in Translation, and The Dummy. I've actually seen The Dummy. Have you guys seen that with Adrian Brody?
No.
Where he's a ventriloquist?
I remember.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I
No.
remember that, yeah.
I saw it. I couldn't tell you if I liked it or not.
Probably not.
I completely just don't. I just saw the poster. I was like, I saw that movie, but I don't know what else I saw. And I don't know what.
I think
what
around that
happened.
time I was watching The Jacket with Adrian Brody, which I also forgot.
Right. I've never seen The Pianist.
Me neither.
Never seen
Never
it.
saw
It's
that.
depressing.
What was the other movie?
No Good Deed and
No,
Lost in
Cap-
Translation.
Cabin in the Woods? Is that
Cabin
what you said?
Fever.
Oh, Cabin Fever.
Yeah,
Right,
no,
right.
That's the Eli Roth movie.
Yeah.
Never
I've seen
saw
Lost in Translation and Cabin Fever. Oh, and Matchstick Men.
Nice. On the 19th of September, the week after, you had a wide release of Secondhand Lions, Underworld, Cold Creek Manor, The Fighting Temptations, and anything else that is a Woody Allen film. And you had a limited release of Bubba Hotep, which I know everyone's seen.
Since we're on, like, when this came out.
Sure.
Does this movie not seem that old to like, the fact that it's 19 years old blows my mind, because when I watched it the other night and I was trying to remember the year, I'm usually pretty good at years. I'm thinking 06, 07.
I thought 06 as well.
Well, this was shot in 01.
Yeah,
in
it was
01,
delayed.
right. It was
pushed.
2 years. Yeah, pushed back 2
It
years.
looks good for an older.
I
film
knew it
like
was
that.
old because Johnny Depp is so young in it.
Yeah.
He looks so young in
it.
this
He
movie.
does. Yeah.
But like 2000, like John, that's 20 years ago.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Is it
we're
just
old.
it really surprises me that it's 20 years old. I would put it at 15. As dumb as that sounds,
Sure.
it just doesn't feel 20.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Because there is a difference.
The week before, the 5th of September, you had a wide release of Dickie Roberts, former child star, which is not good, and The Order. The Order was the guy, everyone that did A Knight's Tale, right? That's like what's his face was in it? The guy from Joker from
Keith
Dark
Ledger.
Knight. Keith Ledger, and it's the girl Shasheen. I can't remember her
Yeah,
name.
it's like a priest, right? There's like
Yeah,
a horror
and
movie with a priest in it. or
right. The
something?
writer director
Yeah.
is the same one who did A Knight's Tale, which is a good movie. I like that movie a lot, but The Order just did not hit for me. So, but and I did not like Dickie Roberts' former. That's the one with David Spade.
David Spade, yeah.
No one liked that movie.
So this film was directed by Robert Rodriguez, who's done From Dusk Till Dawn, The Faculty, and Sin City. It was written by Robert Rodriguez, who's done We Can Be Heroes, Machete, that's for you, Lloyd, and Spy Kids. Shot by Robert Rodriguez, who's done Planet Terror, The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and scored by Robert Rodriguez, who has actually scored Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair, which I did not know.
He did.
Yep.
Yeah. And he chopped this film, chopped by Robert Rodriguez, who was also Chopped Desperado. That's edited for those out there who's not cool like Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, because he has there's the one,
Yeah.
right? Isn't it like shot, chopped, and
Shot, chopped, and scored.
Scored, yeah.
I know. It's like, come on. Produced by Elizabeth Avian or Avian. I don't know if she's still married to
No.
Mr. Rodriguez, but she was at the time.
it was well known. He started banging Rose McGowan when they made Planet Terror,
Putting it delicately.
and she said, "I gotta go."
She has produced Predators and most of his films. Carlos Gallardo, who produced Bandito and Single Action, and also produced by Rodriguez. And my note is see other credits because he produces all his films. Antonio Banderas returns as El Mariachi from the Desperado film. He was nominated for an Oscar for Pain and Glory. He's also in Philadelphia and Interview with the Vampire. Salma Hayek. Actually, do you know? Are you guys going to watch that Interview with the Vampire
Absolutely.
show?
Yeah, I want to watch that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't even know there was one.
Yeah.
It looks Amazon.
AMC.
Oh, okay.
Was it AMC? I thought it was
Yeah.
Amazon. You
I
might
thought
be
it
right.
was AMC.
I don't
They
know.
want to do the whole Anne Rice like pantheon.
Well-
They want to combine it.
So
Yeah.
I like what she does
They're doing
with
the Witches
vampires.
one, right? Witches of May, her Witches series.
Oh, are they doing that as
They're
well?
doing that because Adrian was going to be
As
was
part
up-
of
really?
the
That's
Interview
awesome.
with a Vampire or a separate show?
a separate show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I know they're in the same universe in the books.
I
Yeah,
read
I know
all that
in-
stuff back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Interview
I
was supposed
so
to tie into
it.
all the other stuff.
Yeah.
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 I got up to the Vampire Armand in the books. I
Yeah.
stopped reading. So yeah,
I saw the movie and I never.
Armand is Banderas' character.
I think I
Yeah.
did read the interview with the Vampire, the book around the time,
Mhm.
but I never saw what was it, Queen of the Damned, right? That was the next
that movie's
one.
not
think
good.
The
that was
movie's
third
really
one.
cheesy.
Vampire Lestat and then Queen of the Damned.
Vampire
I think.
Lestat's a really good book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great book.
Yeah, agreed. All right, moving on. Salma Hayek as Carolina. She's nominated for an Oscar for Frida. She's also in Eternals, Dogma, and the TV show Ugly Betty. Johnny Depp as Sands. He was nominated for 3 Oscars. Can you guys name which ones? I like doing
Pirates of the
Jeez.
Caribbean.
Right.
Yeah, one of
Chocolat.
the first Pirates, not Chocolat.
Okay.
Gilbert Grape? No.
Nope. Although he's great in that.
Finding Neverland.
Yes.
Oh, fuck. I was just... I never
One
saw
more.
that.
It's a musical.
Oh, Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah. So he was nominated for all three of those films. Did not win. Mickey Rourke as Billy, who was nominated for The Wrestler. He's also in Sin City, Angel Heart, and Iron Man 2. Eva Mendes as, what's his name again? A headdress?
A headdress.
Headdress, which John, before we did the started recording, said that they never say her name in the movie.
I don't think they do.
Right.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
She's in Hitch, The Other Guys, and The Place Beyond the Pines.
I didn't know this. She's married to Ryan Gosling.
I don't know if they're married, but they're together and have a kid.
And they have kids.
Yeah, well, they were
those
both...
kids must be like, you can't even look at those kids. You look at those
They're
kids,
blindingly
it's like
gorgeous.
looking into a black hole, like of beauty.
Danny Trejo as I forgot it. Kukui.
Kukui, yeah.
He's a Machete. He is Machete. He's also in Con Air and the movie Heat. Actually, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's a book, Heat 2.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I'm excited.
No, I haven't.
So Michael Mann with somebody else wrote a sequel to the movie, and it came out in
It's
the book.
It's a prequel.
Oh, yeah.
Prequel sequel. I'm gonna
It's
get into
how
that.
they became robbers and cops,
I'm
and then
getting into
also
that
takes
thing.
place 10 years afterwards.
I'm all about
88,
that.
I think it's called Heat 2, 88 to 02.
Yes, yep.
And
Oh, that's
95
the
is when the
prequel
movie
part,
happened.
I'm all about that book.
Yeah, I want to check it out. Heat's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Enrique Iglesias as Lorenzo.
I can be your hero, baby.
I can be your mariachi, baby. In
He
this
is.
He's in Desperado as well. And
You know, John, it's 50 pesos for a kiss if you'd like.
No, I thought it was 50 to fuck him.
Oh, it's 50 to fuck him. Yes, 20 to kiss him.
Yes.
10 just to hear him play.
Oh, how nice. He's a singer, everyone. And then we had Cheech Marin as Bellini or Bellini? Bellini. He, obviously Cheech and Chong, Tin Cup, and the TV show Nash Bridges. Ruben Blades as Jorge. His title is, or his character's name is Jorge FBI. Like, really?
I saw that.
That's going to be his
credits.
TV show that comes out later on.
Ramirez.
What?
That's what they call him, right? Ramirez?
Yeah, that's his last name.
Yeah.
He's in The Devil's Own, Predator 2, and Fear the Walking Dead, the TV show. And then Willem Dafoe as Barrio. He's nominated for 4 Oscars. I guarantee you guys are going to get.
Platoon.
Right?
The Lighthouse?
No.
What
has a title of a state in it.
Oh, The Florida Project.
Right. 2 more.
The one where what was the one where he, like, doesn't he have sex with a woman in a movie? Antichrist?
Antichrist.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no,
The
okay.
Lars von Trier film?
That
Yeah.
movie's awful.
The Life Aquatic.
No. Shadow of the Vampire.
Oh, right,
that's right.
And At Eternity's Gate. That's an older film.
Do you know what else he was
That's
in?
the only one I knew.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Shadow of the Vampire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Do you know what else he was in?
Yeah.
Brownface in this movie. Wah, 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 wah. It was, I don't know if that would have flown in 2022. I felt a little awkward when they, like, introduced him. I'm like, cause, you know, it would have been like if they made that movie now, Scarlett Johansson would have played that character.
Well, I mean, I didn't see any notes in the movie, like in the.
He was cast by
about it.
Robert Rodriguez.
That's the other thing too.
I'm
Rodriguez
not-
cast. No, I got you.
Yeah, I'm not really complaining about it, but it's fucking like, it's kind of cringy nowadays.
Twitter would have gone off on it, and then
Right.
Robert Rodriguez would have made a post that went
All right,
like,
all right,
"Back
John.
off, it's my movie."
Why don't you put your balls back in your pants?
I'm just saying. You're telling me none of you when that came on.
Oh no,
right?
I said
I was
to Lloyd.
surprised, yeah.
I was like, "Ooh, what's going on here?" And then he
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, you don't know." I'm like, "Oh, we're doing an accent too. All right."
You know what we're gonna do now?
But then I was like, Robert Rodriguez. I'm like, maybe whatever.
Hey,
Who am I to say?
It's his right to do what he wants.
Exactly.
His movie.
I don't care. Yeah, it's not. I mean,
I don't remember it being like even then, like, you know, blackface or something along those lines would have been called out. I don't remember it being a controversy back then.
No,
No.
it wasn't.
Right. So, but it still was like not having seen this movie in like 20 years. When he shows up, I'm like, fuck. They just jammed some fucking like brown stuff all over him.
Got fake tanner.
Yeah.
jammed some brown stuff.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we talked about already our background with the films, with the 3 films. I'm curious, since we've all seen this movie before, right? You just haven't seen Desperado, but
I've seen this several times.
All right, we'll go around. We'll start with Lloyd. I'm curious, after another rewatch of this, what's the one thing, good or bad? Doesn't have to be bad or good, whatever it is. What stood out? I guess after this recent rewatch.
So if you recall, I did not see this before.
Oh, I'm so sorry,
Right.
Lloyd. You know
No,
what?
no,
We'll
no,
start with
no
Butler.
worries.
No, okay, no. Well, okay. Well, then, actually, first impressions.
So what stood out? All the
Aside from you falling asleep,
all from all right. So yeah, I should probably say that because that does affect.
don't be ashamed. I fall asleep all the time.
I watched this movie 3 consecutive nights, and I fell asleep 3 consecutive nights. I saw it on a streaming service that had a commercial like every 10 minutes. I don't know if you want to say
Rhymes
what
with the bad
service.
guy from Popeye.
Yeah, right. And I just couldn't hang with it. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
It was just hard. But I liked the grimy, gritty, sweaty orange look of this
Look at the
movie.
film, yeah.
And I like the actors that are in it.
Mm-hmm.
But what stood out to me, being a guy falling asleep, you cannot sleep and fucking follow what's going on in this movie.
Oh yeah.
You can't stay awake and follow what's going on.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, what'd you kind of come away with after this rewatch?
So this might, from a guy who's not Mexican.
You're not?
No, not at all. Not even a little. I like the Mexican pride in this movie. I like the fact that it was shot in Mexico. The fact that it like you kind of said, like it's a Western, but it's really got this kind of like specific look.
Very good look.
A very good like aesthetic to it. It seems to celebrate where it's taking place. It says Once Upon a Time in Mexico. The ending of the movie when he's walking away and he's got the flag sashed around him. I felt like maybe I read too much into it. I felt like Robert Rodriguez was able to write like a love letter to the place he's from.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Texas.
He's from Texas, and he's from Texas, but he's from like through Mexico, right?
His family is Mexican.
Right.
South of the border. Down Mexico.
I don't know. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that aspect of it. I felt like it was a movie that was very genuine, at least to trying to talk about this place.
Sure.
And again, like Mexico City, there's always a lot of political uprising. There's always a lot of like crazy shit going on. Like you did say, Butler, like you can't be awake and follow what's actually happening in this movie. But so I don't know. I like that.
I think you ruined the opening of this podcast by not asking everyone if they are a Mexican or a Mexicant. As their opinion of this movie.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't think it was appropriate.
I really like this film. I've always really liked this film. But its plot is absolutely incomprehensible. But that's one of the things I like about this film. It knows that it's really over the top. And I think the whole CIA plot, the FBI plot, the cartel plot, the president plot is just all there to be layers of absurdity on top of each other in the film. But I think all the characters and all the actors do a really great job really developing their own characters. And what hit me this time, as opposed to all my other watches, and it probably comes from watching more films like John Wick we talked about earlier, like John Woo we talked about off microphone, and taking classes in, is the stunt work. All the action in the film. The stunt work, when people get hit by cars, it's like a quick cut to take them out of the scene, but like they don't do cuts where it's like, okay, they're not going to get hit by the car. We're going to show like a tire wheel and you're just going to have to assume. Like a lot of the action is like, oof. And then over the top, people spinning, people getting shot. It really is a really cool stylistic action that I appreciated more in this watch than I did, I think, when I originally watched it. When I originally watched it, I think I was just really hyped on like the style, the cinematography, and just the acting and the dialogue. Obviously, a lot of Johnny Depp's quotes are really quotable and like ridiculous.
Well, he's ad-libbing all those.
I know, and that's part of why I liked the movie when I was younger.
I saw this movie once in like 2003, probably on video. I never have forgotten the scene where he tells him how he's going to get up,
Kill the chef.
kill the chef,
Yeah.
and then just walk out to his car because he's parked back there already anyway.
If you say Once Upon a Time in Mexico, that's the first thing that comes into my mind is that scene.
To your point, Butler, about Rodriguez, like he's a very good director in terms of action style, as like you say. He's just not a good writer. And he's just not a good writer.
The script was 45 pages. I read.
I know, because he knows, I know he knows he probably doesn't like to write. He doesn't want to write. He just puts it down and he wants to just do it in camera, and that's fine. I don't think that's by design, because he's just not interested, and that's fine. Whatever, no big deal. I just think that affects, for me, because you have a movie that is featuring El Mariachi, who is the lead in the last two, and he's not even the lead in this one. It's Sands.
Yep.
And it's like, and I know when they talk to him after that, and he admits like that was on purpose. He wanted to do something that was all encompassing, but that's not really how it's pitched. So to me, like, I'm watching a film that I want to see Antonio Banderas do El Mariachi things, and I'm seeing Sands do things. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you guys felt about that, Lloyd.
Well, he got to do his thing in flashbacks.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But yeah, no, I definitely would have liked more. It was just more of a lot of brooding.
Yeah.
from El Mariachi. But I did enjoy seeing the Depp stuff because I think Johnny Depp is really good in it.
And that's fine if that's Depp's movie.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's just do that, and let's not have let's have Mariachi come in at the end like a cameo kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean?
I do like.
Yeah.
You set him up a little too. He has too many scenes.
True.
I don't think you need the flashbacks because I think the flashbacks add more to his screen time. And then
You're talking about
El Mariachi.
yeah.
Because then is it Sans movie or is it El Mariachi's? Because if you look at screen time, they're probably almost equal because of the flashbacks.
I think the flashbacks are also in there, John. I don't know if you agree with this, because they wanted to get Salma Hayek in the film.
Oh, totally.
And they didn't because they killed her in the other one. So, they just had
That's
to
how
put
you
her
do
in
it.
there. Yeah, exactly. Is that what you thought?
The setup of this movie in terms of how they did all of this stuff, I thought about it when I was watching the film. I didn't go back and look at the trailer. I wonder how the trailer sold this. Did it sell it as like Desperado 2 or 3, however you want to put it? Because it's not.
No.
And even by saying Sans there is no main character in this movie.
True.
It bounces around. And then when you think you got who it's going to bounce around to, then they add the Ruben Blades character in. Which, in all honesty, I was interested in his part of the story too.
Yep.
I know he's not the main character, but I was like, oh, this guy's getting back into it. It's a revenge thing. This movie is literally almost the definition of like a 10-pound sack with 20 pounds of stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like there's too much going on.
Too many cooks.
Too many cooks.
Too many cooks.
He's the only, it's shot, chopped, and scored, and scribbled, and directed by
Well, then too many
one
ingredients.
guy.
Too many ingredients, right?
Maybe there are too many things he wants to
Only
do.
one cook, yeah.
Right.
Right. I love bubble gum, but I don't want it in on my pizza. You know what I mean?
Chiclets?
What's
You
that?
like chiclets?
Chicle. Yeah,
Too many
I like chicle. I don't want it on my pizza. So I think that's kind of what happens here is that there's just a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
How long is the movie? An hour?
It's hour 46.
46. It's not super long.
It feels long.
It feels
definitely
long.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think it feels long because it's all quick and there's so much action and style that at least you're still interested in the vignettes that you're being given.
I was more interested in the vignettes than the action myself.
Do you think it would be better, Field, if it was more vignettes? If
If they had chapters, breaks,
if it was
and stuff
breaks
like
in
that.
like as a chapter instead
Yes.
of unfocused and cutting everywhere.
If he did it like a Tarantino film where he does chapters and stuff like that, and you focused on, you didn't go
A
back and
character at a
forth,
time.
right? Yeah, I think that would have been a little bit easier to take, and the fact that it's always in and out and back and forth. And what was the movie we did where I asked the question of you, do we even need the FBI here? What was that movie? I can't.
This was recent,
right? So that's my question about Ruben Blades, all that stuff. Like, why are these people here? Like,
because he ends up being useless. Nothing happens.
But if it, you say, if it's a chapter, if it's broken down into chapters, or I think I could probably take it a little bit better. What do you think, Lloyd?
I'm wondering if you break this down into vignettes or chapters, what do you even title these chapters?
Yeah, I know.
Because they wouldn't make
Jorge
any
FBI.
sense.
yeah, it has to be characters' names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the movie would have to be retitled Double Cross.
And then you know what?
Yeah.
But you know what? To that point, then I would save the El Mariachi chapter to the end.
Yeah, you'd have to do that at the end because he intersects with everybody, and that works out.
Yeah. But then Sans stuff is throughout the whole thing. It's almost like you have to do the vignettes and then the ending, they all come together. Like that kind of thing. So you don't have to, you know what I mean?
Begin with Sans, have all the characters, end with El Mariachi, but really bookend it with a little bit of Sans.
Right. A little bit of Sans.
Because at that point, you've already built El Mariachi up to be this otherworldly kind of ghost anyway.
Sure. Well, this is clearly, obviously by the title as well, is heavily influenced by Sergio Leone, who Rodriguez loves. And this idea was given to him by Quentin Tarantino to do this film, but also to name it Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
To do a Mexican Western.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a spaghetti Western. But my question is, do you think this is more spaghetti Western or more exploitative cinema? Like, what kind of subgenre are we in here?
I would almost go exploitation type cinema, especially with the action's ridiculous, right? All the mariachi stuff is super hyper realistic, which I don't
Your
remember.
guitar case isn't also a remote control bomb?
Yeah, I mean all that stuff. I mean, and then I liked it, but waking up with Salma Hayek with the manacles on and jumping from from
I guess
level to level.
those are scenes he wanted to add to Desperado but couldn't, so he put them in this movie.
The scene that they're escaping,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's all good, but I almost would have preferred if it was more of a baseline action movie and not all the the whole idea of even in Desperado, which I did enjoy, the whole idea of the guitar cases and the flame. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily work for me. It's kind of goofy, but then I have to think that he's going for that.
But in Desperado, they use when the El Mariachi show up at the end, they actually do something.
Right.
Yeah, they don't do as much here.
Well, but everybody's doing something at the end of this, right?
True.
Because we've already had, a coup d'etat and a face-off at one point. We actually had a face-off happen in this movie.
Which that guy was an assistant. He wasn't an actor or anything. He was just an assistant on the film that actually looked that much like Willem Dafoe.
Really?
Is that who that was? I was wondering how they got someone to have that same jawline.
Just a dude on set that looked like Willem Dafoe. No CG was used on that
poor bastard.
Yeah. Wow. I looked at him thinking I might recognize this guy from somewhere until it just dawned on me, I recognize him because he looks like Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
This movie, just real quick, is super. I don't know. It's an odd movie because in the course of watching it, I simultaneously like bits of it a lot, and then I'm like lost in bits of it. It's an enjoyable watch, but like it just feels like it's speeding towards nowhere. I don't know if that makes sense.
Like I said, I've watched this movie a bunch of times, not in a long time, but I've probably watched this movie 5 or 6 times when it first came out because I just love it. But it makes no sense. Well, like you can't defend it if somebody goes, "This movie's pointless." Yeah,
not even that.
Yeah, it is.
But I want to talk about the Ruben Blades stuff because there was a lot of questions I had in that part. Like, who the hell is he talking to when he's surveilling
himself? He's
just talking to himself.
He's talking to himself. Yeah,
and he's just so used to doing that in his career that he's just like, all right.
My bigger question is I don't mind him talking to himself, but like he breaks open the gun. When he opens the gun and it's empty, he goes, "Pendejo." It's like, didn't you know the gun was fucking empty?
I know.
Like that scene was just like shockingly should have been edited out, or like he should have reached into his pocket and gone, "No bullets." But like he looks of course the gun's fucking empty. It was in a fucking case.
Or when he's using the whiteout to scratch invalid, and I'm like, that doesn't look good.
Yeah,
off of his FBI badge. What about I'm going to say her name, the Eva Mendes character. I'm not going to bother. That whole turn, that whole why?
Terrible.
I don't know. I couldn't figure it out.
It's stuff that the cartels actually do. I think that's why he put it in there.
Sure, okay.
They put family members in police offices and stuff like that, and it's an interesting twist where you don't see it coming because she's an officer.
Yeah, but it came out of nowhere.
So does everything in this movie. All the twists.
How about the fact that when they're in the police station, they're giving them assignments. She's the only one not wearing a hat. Like it's just so hurt. You know what I mean? Like she's got her hair.
Well, you got to see that beautiful face in there.
Yeah,
you have to.
It was just like, okay, we get it, Robert.
You can't Mandalorian
her. So I have some kind of behind the scene notes in terms of like, technical stuff. I don't know if you guys are interested in this, but this was the first time that he used a digital camera. So Rodriguez was testing the limits of his HD digital camera while making this film after being introduced to the camera by George Lucas because he was using it for
the
episode 2. Yeah.
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah. So he was experimenting with lenses, filters, frame speeds. Let me ask you this. Did you guys notice that it was digital when you watched it? Does that note surprise you, or does that note is something like, oh, you know what? That makes sense because I thought this scene looked like this. Like,
if you look at it now, it kind of makes sense, and I think that's what helps make the film look, like John said, like 5 years older than it was because it's shot on digital. It looks like something from maybe 5 years after this.
Right.
It looks like something post Collateral, where it's really something kind of more pre Collateral.
Well, in Collateral, he's clearly he doesn't care about making it digital. Like he's not hiding that he's using digital.
He's not using.
Do you think that Rodriguez is hiding the fact that he's using digital in this?
Yeah, it's supposed to look washed
trying
out.
to look, like film.
Like film, right.
Definitely. I noticed. I mean, I took some pictures of my actual TV screen and made a little collage thing. But there was a lot of kind of, in my opinion, really cool shots, like full screen. Like I have a big TV, full screen headshots of like every single character at some point.
Oh, like there are ones like close-ups.
Like just a one, like the whole screen is filled up with that one face.
So there's definitely a lot of good imagery.
Yeah, very good.
Especially like in the flashback which I don't know why the El Mariachi is all the way up on top of that giant roof when he's seeing his wife and daughter
up on the roof
coming back, and he's like, "No, I go, why are you up so high?"
Plot armor, so he couldn't get killed too.
Right?
Yeah.
He's got to sing to the masses, play to the masses on his guitar.
Is that what he does? He's just up there singing.
Bing, doo. Well, he doesn't sing. He does sing, but we don't see him sing other than when they have to practice, are you really a mariachi band?
Oh, right.
Most of
yeah.
it is play.
Is that the only singing scene?
Yeah, it's all just acoustic.
For
on
him,
the-
Yeah, you're right.
Well, Iglesias plays.
And the guy with him is like,
That's it.
I didn't think you guys could sing.
Yeah.
The gunfight in the church. Did you? I didn't realize.
I noticed it
this.
was a rubber gun because I had that note
Right.
before I read the note.
So film with rubber guns, no squibs, no physical damage to the church. They added all that in post production. I didn't even get that.
There's
I didn't catch that.
notice.
There's a mid close on the torso of one of the bad guys, and he's shooting the gun, and he's not even pretending to fire or move his gun. He's literally just doing this, and I'm like, that's a rubber gun. He's not even moving it up or down. He's not even pretending it's a machine gun.
Well, for the first 2 weeks of the film, they didn't have any guns because they got held up at the Mexican border. So they were faking all that stuff for the first 2 weeks of filming. So that must have been what.
Well,
that 2
luckily they
weeks.
didn't need guns. They just needed fucking exploding guitar cases for certain scenes of this movie.
One thing I did notice in that church scene is those pews were pretty freaking weak. I mean, church pews are pretty heavy duty. You can't just fall on one and
No.
have it bust.
All just plywood.
They'll break
Yeah.
your back.
I like the bit where the old lady is praying
just
and
walks away.
they kind of stop and she walks on. They let her go and like respect, even though they're about to do like this terrible thing.
So let's talk about Johnny Depp because you guys all like Sands, right? You all like Johnny Depp. in
Yeah,
this?
Oh, yeah.
Especially with Cheech.
Right. The two scenes with him. Yeah. So he shot this in 8 days. And then I guess he had so much fun that he stayed on and he convinced Rodriguez to let him play the priest in the confessional. So that's, I don't know if he caught that. I mean, you could tell. It was
Wait a minute. Wasn't that supposed to be Sands as well?
They
No.
kind of made it supposed to be Sam.
No, it's not. He's doing Marlon Brando's
He's
accent.
doing Marlon Brando's ass,
Yeah.
but then he kind of looks toward the camera, and you can see it's Sands, and he
I don't-
talks to him about the mission.
I don't think so.
So I think maybe they re-ad-libbed the lines.
Yeah, I knew he was doing like a Marlon Brando impression, but I thought he was supposed to be playing Sands.
Yeah.
Meeting. See, again, this is the kind of movie that like there's so much going on,
Right.
and so many like different character double crosses and who's involved with who that you can lose something like that very simply because Johnny Depp at some point has a sit-down meal with everybody in this fucking movie, even though they're all working against each other.
pork.
Yeah, have this slow roasted pork.
He's like supposed to be a couple with Eva Mendes' character.
Right.
Like, they're supposed to be together.
Yep.
He's giving her information.
They're supposed to be a couple?
Well, a former
couple. Or they haven't seen each other in a while, so
Right.
he changes the keys.
All right.
Well, he's supposed to be a CIA agent who works in Mexico to destabilize the government. Like that's his thing.
Who has no problem just shooting a bitch and killing a bitch just for cooking good pork.
Yeah.
Listen, he has to have balance. This is
He
the
has
best
to have
slow.
balance.
Every dive bar I go to, I have the same slow roasted pork.
Let's talk about that. Killing the chef or the pork.
Yeah.
What is that?
Slow roasted pork?
Is it him? is he killing the chef just because, look, you created the best pork you're ever going to create and you have no use in
No,
the
it's
rest
'cause
of
you're number-
it?
you're number
or is
one.
it something else?
Everyone's got to be the same.
Right.
So he's number one. He's got to be taken down.
My favorite bit of that whole scene is like the little bit at the end where he's going on, he's trying this everywhere.
Yeah.
This is the best ever. And El Mariachi, a Mexican, eats it and spits it out.
He
because it's
spits it out.
terrible.
like it.
Yeah. He's like, oh,
Like he's
maybe
like,
it wasn't that good.
without saying it, it's like you don't understand. That sucks.
Yeah.
If you were like me and you discover that you owned this DVD for 20 years and didn't realize it was in your collection, on the DVD extras, Robert Rodriguez cooks the puerco pibil in a 10-minute cooking class and shows you how to make
that's
it.
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
he has a, so I can't remember because when he went back to Texas, he built a whole studio on his where he lives.
Yes.
Because he left the directors
Well,
guild.
he left the Directors Guild before Sin City because they wouldn't let Frank Miller. They didn't want Frank Miller to direct one of the
Vignettes.
episodes, and he said, "Screw that, he's doing it," and he left. And he left the WGA because he's like, "They take my money. They take money. That's all they do." And that's fine. He's big enough to do that. He doesn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? He doesn't need the guild. So he has his home studio next to his house, but like when you go, I can't remember where I saw it. It might have been the making of either Spy Kids or something. I don't know. You go into his kitchen, and he actually has a ready-made menu there.
Yeah, that's part of
Yeah.
That's part of it. He shows at the end. He says, "You've got to learn how to cook. Like, if you like to cook, pick 3 or 4 things that you like to make, and just make them repeatedly. Make them every couple of weeks." And then he goes, "I actually have a printed up menu," and he shows it. And he goes, "Anybody that comes to my house, comes to my kitchen, they can pick anything on here. It's like 12 items.
They have all the ingredients,
and
that
I
are there
will
for
make
that.
it for
Yeah.
you right then and there."
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, which I thought was pretty cool. But that's cool though, because even like your kids come in, you're like, "Oh, I want something to eat." Like, "All right, I'll make you this. Let's go."
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
To be rich, man. To be rich.
Yeah, you look at my fridge. Well, you could have some leftover pasta.
that's the dream.
You could have a banana.
There you go. But the Sands role was originally meant for George Clooney, not Johnny Depp.
Oh.
And then he couldn't do it because of obviously just commitments.
George would work fine in that
I was going to say,
role.
would that be okay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You'd be,
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, you would.
Johnny Depp has a certain amount of craziness that I don't think George could do.
George would be more cool.
I honestly think George Clooney's pretty overrated as an actor.
Whoa!
And then he's George Clooney in every movie that he does.
That's what. So Tom Cruise is in.
That's
Tom
fine.
Cruise in every
That's
movie
fine.
is.
So is
this
Johnny
movie
Depp.
does not require. No, this is Johnny Depp is not the same in every movie. He's always a little weird, but it's always a different kind of weird. This is not the same as him as Sweeney Todd. This is not the same as him as Jack Sparrow. He's got this over-the-topness that works with this movie that I don't think George Clooney could reach. I think Nicolas Cage was one of the alternate options. Nicolas Cage could do the shit of this role.
I love George Clooney, but I do think that this was more tailored towards Johnny Depp. The weirdness, Johnny Depp actually, they never say it, but he named the character, not Sands, but like he has his first and middle name. He did that.
That's because Rodriguez didn't name him.
Right.
So he only had 45 pages.
Yeah.
He doesn't have room to name anybody.
He came up with the
White
idea.
guy.
He came up with the idea that he would wear like the T-shirts that he
he had
wears.
his sister go out and buy tortoise T-shirts from Florida.
Yeah.
He has a shirt that says fucking CIA.
Yeah.
I love
he
that.
does.
I'm waiting to.
Do you think Clooney would have played a good Sans?
I don't.
Answer the question.
That's not what bothers me. What bothers me is that you don't think George Clooney's a good actor.
I think he's George Clooney in pretty
You're
much
looking at me.
everything he does.
I
I
said-
know that. I know I'm looking at you. I know.
You're talking to him.
I'm talking about him. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Fuck you. I love this.
I don't understand why you really
I just think he's very George Clooney in pretty much everything.
He's
He's very
movie star.
I'm smooth, cool, and authoritative. He's very 1950s like Frank Sinatra in everything he does, and that's not what this role requires.
Here's the problem with George Clooney as an actor is, so let's go back to...
I didn't say he was a problem, but George.
Well, listen, but this is true. Go back to 1996. Let's say From Dusk Till Dawn. Let's use that. Let's use that as a jump-off point. Let's use that as a jump-off point. How many A-list star actors like George Clooney that you could think of that in this 25-year period have done less than George Clooney? George Clooney does not make a lot of movies.
He does not do a lot.
So what I'm saying is just by that, what you're saying, I can understand it to an extent because he doesn't do more roles.
Exactly.
If he made 4 movies a year, George Clooney might be more like a Brad Pitt, where you could say, fuck, he was Mickey in Snatch, but George Clooney literally has probably done a total of like 13 movies in the course of 20 years.
Oh, no way. No way. Look it up.
He's not in that much, man.
I'm on it, boss.
He's not in that much.
What was the movie that you went back to in 1996?
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Dusk Till Dawn. Okay.
I'm using that as like maybe
That's
his
fine.
first.
I didn't hear the movie.
His first like starring role in a film. I think that was probably his first big one. That was right around the time of ER.
Batman.
That was after. That was
Was it
97.
Dusk Till Dawn is
90,
first.
yeah, 98 or 97. Yeah.
So you're saying 13 films since 96.
Not total, but I'm saying a lot less.
Big films?
Big films. Name them. Go ahead. Name them all right now.
Up in the Air.
Up in the
Michael
air.
Clayton.
Michael Clayton,
Okay.
yeah.
You're up to 2.
Can I count Batman?
The Batman movie.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Batman. Which one was that? Batman and Robin?
Batman and Robin.
Until when? Like what?
From right to
Tomorrowland.
One Fine Day, Tomorrowland. That's
The
5.
Coen Brothers movie.
Right.
was
Oh,
One
brother,
Fine
we're
Day.
right there. We're out there. Hail Caesar.
You're struggling at 9. Do
at
Tom
7.
Cruise.
I'm doing George Clooney.
But what I'm saying,
Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13.
that was
That's
a give me.
10.
That was a
That's
fucking
10.
give me.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else? What else is he
Gravity.
doing?
I'll give you that.
Gravity.
He's only in a little bit of that.
But he's in it. I mean,
out of sight. Okay.
out of sight.
There's 11.
That's 12.
Okay, so you're struggling at 12 is what I'm saying.
No, that's
Do you
12,
think
yeah.
you can get to 25 right now?
You didn't say 25. You said 13.
What I'm saying is, do you get what I'm saying? He gets what I'm saying. I'm saying
What are the movies, Butler? What movies am I forgetting?
I'm not counting the oceans and it's Let's have a vacation sequel.
So then I'm not counting Tom Cruise's Mission Impossibles. I mean, come on here. They're movies.
Those aren't his vacation movies. That's Adam Sandler and his
shut
Netflix
up.
movies.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
I don't even know One Fine Day, but I'll count it.
One Fine Day is
One
with
Fine Day.
Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah.
1, 2.
Oh, the Peacemaker, right?
Peacemaker.
From Dusk Till
with
Dawn,
Nicole
One Fine Day,
Kidman.
Batman and Robin, Peacemaker, Out of Sight, Thin Red Line. He's not in like any of.
So now we're just gonna pick and choose what movies we want to.
That's a cameo appearance. I mean, okay, Thin Red Line.
So Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder is a cameo appearance as well.
Yes.
I didn't say it wasn't.
I'm saying can't count that.
My point is true.
You're arguing against Mike Field. He's gonna get bitchy.
My point is correct. He is
So
not
maybe it's 15.
for a A-list Hollywood actor in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
He's made less movies. Think about like a 10-year period of Jim Carrey.
Well, what's your point?
Wait a minute. What was our? What
just-
was the point of the whole thing?
Is that he doesn't have enough movies to expand.
He hasn't been able to expand.
because he only does a
So
few movies.
if,
I
if
see.
you're
I
saying
see
he's
what
always
you're
playing
saying.
George Clooney, it's because he only does 2 projects every 2 years or so, right? Did you see that
What was
one?
that one?
That Netflix one he did a couple years ago where they're going into space
You're talking about when he's not in
in Antarctica?
Yeah, when not. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. It was during the pandemic. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And again,
Remember the pandemic?
It's called Midnight Sky. But
Midnight Sky, yeah. That was probably one of the last things he did.
Sure.
That's like two plus years ago.
Okay.
in the last 22 years, he's done 12 films.
Oh, Abba. Here come the hammer.
I don't understand why that's a negative, though. I don't get.
It's just he's only saying that he doesn't have enough enough of a filmography to try new things. that are
Matt
crazy.
Damon.
He's only
Matt
doing the big
Damon
George
has
Clooney
probably
projects.
done double that, and that's why Matt Damon maybe has done stuff that's reached out a little further. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying. But I
Could
love
you
George
see
Clooney.
Matt Damon in that role?
I don't.
No, I cannot.
I know what you're saying. I just don't agree with it.
Okay, that's fine. We don't have to
I don't
agree.
agree with that. I don't that just doesn't.
We
make
still
any
love
sense
each
to me.
other in the end.
No, movie stars are movie stars. They're not. I mean, they know. He knows his lane. Tom Cruise knows his lane. I mean, maybe Johnny Depp is a movie star masquerade. Is a character actor masquerading as a movie star.
I would agree with
Come
that.
on, but wait, okay. So let's go.
But
go to
what's his
Clooney
face?
for a
Pig
second.
Vomit. What's his face?
Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti's a character actor.
He's
Yeah.
a character actor, right? But,
Right, yeah.
But like, okay, let's give Clooney credit. Oh, brother, where art thou? That's a little bit of a.
Oh, thanks, John. Oh, thank you, John. Thank you.
What I'm saying is that's a little bit of a stretch out of the Clooniness.
Hail
I'm
Caesar.
agreeing. I never saw it.
No,
He's dumb Clooney, but yeah. He's the best part of Hell Caesar.
So
I don't even know whose side I
So
was
who
on. at
else
the
can do
beginning.
the Sam's role?
no, I was just asking.
I think Nicolas Cage
I think
is
Nick Cage
on the list of people that he was looking at.
Butler
Nicolas
said that
Cage is
Clooney wasn't a good actor, and
No, I
didn't
think
like
Clooney
that.
could do it. Maybe not as good as Depp. He wouldn't have the depth that Depp has, but yeah, Nick Cage.
It would be different.
Yeah,
It would be just basically like his character in the movie that he was just in about himself.
Oh,
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yeah.
He'd be Nicky.
They just
He'd
call
be
that
his
massive
Mr.
talent now, right?
Oh, do they?
Well, I think that's
Like Edge of Tomorrow is now Live Die Repeat.
Live Die Repeat.
now, or like Dune is Dune Part 1.
My Blu-ray of
Which they
that-
should have known to
How
begin with. They were
about-
going to do too.
how about Benicio del Toro?
in this?
Yeah, it's Sands.
I mean,
I
yeah,
can see that, but then he's not this white guy out of place. Then
think
he
that-
actually is Mexican.
Mhm, right.
well, Willem
Yeah.
Dafoe's in the movie.
True.
switch roles. Yeah.
Yeah, switch them.
But I could see Benicio del Toro doing this, yeah.
All right.
When was Usual Suspects?
Or before
95.
this, 90s, yeah.
Yeah, so he's still I just didn't know what like
He's
his
around.
star kind of thing, like how his
This was
Yeah.
the same year as Pirates, right? Too.
Same year as Pirates.
well, yeah,
But it was because it was delayed.
and he says
Right.
and he says savvy in this movie, but like it's obviously 2
Right.
years earlier. So I mean, did he get
He just really liked the word savvy.
exactly? So maybe
Benicio
that's-
del Toro, though, is really good in Sicario. And if he was in this, he probably maybe he wouldn't take on Sicario because it would be a similar role. And he's
Sicario's
he's really good when he wipes out that family in Sicario.
That's the second one. Is that the third?
That's
First
the
one.
first
First
one.
one. That's the end, right?
Yeah.
The first one's at the end, yeah.
Fucking
But-
brutal.
But that's
Finish your meal.
2000.
That's got to be 2000, like,
That's like a couple years ago,
Nine,
right?
10. I would say 10.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
the sequel's probably a few years ago.
I haven't seen the sequel.
Me neither.
It's not as good as the first one.
No.
But my favorite scene in Sicario, we're just
The
not gonna
chase,
talk
or
about
not the
this
chase,
movie. No,
the
it's when they get out of
convoy.
when they get out of the cars.
Yeah.
yeah. Don't move. Yeah, when they get out of the cars and they start shooting them all up. I love that scene. That scene's fantastic.
So now this is the George Clooney Sicario podcast.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What are we talking about here? When we get back to this, well, I mean, why? Well, I mean, obviously, I know we go on tangents sometimes. Okay, I'll bring it back. Let me ask you this question. And before you tell me that, no, he's not a good actor. Is Mariachi the perfect role for Antonio Banderas?
No, Zorro's the
I'm
perfect
asking
one.
Lloyd.
Oh, sorry.
I'm just asking our guests first. That's all.
I think it is a pretty good role for Banderas. I mean, he's just got that look, you know.
Well, Butler's going to come back at you with Zorro because I know that's where he was going. What do you think
You know,
about
and
that?
I hate to say this, but I'm just not a big fan of that Zorro movie.
The
The
both of
first
them?
one?
Yeah.
The second one's not very good. The first one's great.
Yeah, the first one.
Oh, Butler.
That's it. Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
he's a-
I didn't leave. At least I didn't leave.
Yeah.
I'm your ride, by the way.
I think it's because it was so hyped up for me. I had never seen it, and then it was suggested that I see it, and John gave me the DVD, And I was just like, okay, that was
It's one of the last great adventure movies.
Yeah.
Butler, like every time an adventure film comes out, he like desperately and painfully wants it to be good.
And then it's never.
And he won't. Sometimes he won't admit it. I go, it's not good. But
That's Zorro.
he misses the adventure films.
Yeah.
So you would say Mariachi's a better role.
I think
for
it's good
a
for him,
perfect
yeah.
role.
Yeah.
John.
El Mariachi is a great role for him. He looks great in that role. The outfit and the hair and everything. He cuts that swath.
But
like I'm going
Puss in Boots.
No, I'm going Zorro.
Yeah,
I love Mask of Zorro. I think the Legend of, or whatever it was called, is one of those sequels that came out like 3 or 4 years too late.
Yeah.
What a world it would be if we got like a new Zorro movie at that time, like every 2 or 3 years, like a Bond
James
movie.
Bond, yeah.
Fuck, I would have dug that because I'm with Butler. It is one of the last great adventure movies. So yeah, I would think if I had to pick one, I would go with Zorro. But honestly, I think if you were to say to more people, what would you say is the defining role? I think more people will remember him in Desperado than Zorro. I think Zorro is almost forgotten, and Desperado is just kind of like, because that's what brought him into the American cinema zeitgeist. That was the movie that kind of brought him over. I think more people would think of that.
Not that I know you're gonna say Zorro. Right?
I would say Zorro, but I would also say that anybody, I know you guys are a tad bit older than me.
You're old.
People my age and younger, well, maybe not younger, but people around my age are going to remember him from Zorro over Desperado. They're never going to have fucking seen Desperado.
10 years younger than you, 20-year-olds aren't going to remember him.
20-year-olds older aren't going to remember
I have no idea what
Antonio
Desperado
Banderas
is.
Antonio Banderas at all. They might know Puss in Boots and that's it.
Yeah.
They won't know
It
Zorro.
sounds like Puss in
But people
Boots.
my age are always going to say Zorro.
What's funny is that my kids will hear voices so much in the office.
Mhm.
And what's Phyllis? And my Dexter's like, that's Sadness, right? From I go, yeah. And then he knows the Sonic voice. So like they know the voices.
That's pretty
but they
good,
don't
though.
know.
That's
Yeah.
Most kids think Antonio Banderas is that allergy bee that he was for a while, right? Wasn't he the allergy bee?
Right. Hey, Puss in Boots coming out this Christmas.
I saw that.
The trailer makes me giggle.
Yeah.
I saw that was coming out, and I felt like that was another one of those sequels. Like, wasn't Puss in Boots like 10 years ago?
Well,
It was, but then
they
went development hell. And
It
then
just
they
feels
did
like Shrek disappeared totally.
They probably were, as the kid at work
Shrek
calls
is
it.
done.
They probably were working during the pandy, and they just
The pandy?
Yeah, that's Nick. If you're listening to this, I'm giving you a shout out.
The Antonio Banderas, why I would pick Zorro, not just because I love Zorro, is because he's got a little bit more jokiness as Zorro that I think he does really well. He does that kind of comedy, lighthearted bit as well.
In Zorro,
Being able to be sarcastic and funny and anything else, he's a lot more suave than maybe the Mariachi puts on, where the Mariachi's so brooding all the time.
but there is
he's not allowed to really expand.
There are some moments of, I guess, sarcastic levity in this from him, though, right?
A little bit.
Throughout
When he's
the
against
movie.
Kukui, he's a little sarcastic.
Yeah.
But that's really the extent for the most part.
One of my notes here is that for a movie that has, so when it started, for a movie that already has several action set pieces, it moves kind of slow. Did you guys get that sense?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Especially, as a result of me falling asleep. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sorry, but watching it on Bruto was not helpful in that case.
Hey, you got to remember something about. I'm going to defend Pluto for a second.
The planet? It's a dwarf planet. Let it go.
They're giving you this shit for free.
Oh, I understand that, and I appreciate it, but
Yeah.
I don't need a commercial every 10 minutes.
So what? He's not good enough.
You also don't need that movie for free, right? That's the way I look at it. Is I don't want to rent it, so I'm going to add on like 30 minutes to this fucking thing. All right, whatever. I'll get up. I'll do some Kegels or whatever.
I think
the fuck
they
it is
added
you
on
do.
30 minutes every 30 minutes is what happened.
Yeah.
And that movie took me 4 hours to watch.
I will say, I did notice when I looked it up before I watched it, it said 1 hour and 41 minutes. And then when I played it on Pluto, it said 2:05. I'm like, fuck.
That's why I ended up renting it, because I was like, I don't want to add 35 minutes to this. I can't. I'd rather pay the extra $3 to.
So that certainly took away from my enjoyment.
I wasn't a big fan of the action scene when they were shackled.
I think the
didn't think
flashbacks
it was
take
interesting.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you know it's a flashback and she's dead, you have no stakes, and you know he's going to survive because he's in the scenes in the present day. I think that just takes away some of the stakes.
And they never showed the kid. I'm not saying I need to see the kid's head blown off, but they never showed the kid.
You wanted to see the kid's head blown off.
I saw House of Dragon episode 1. I've seen enough.
Oh.
Yeah, right? But they never showed Like, even if it's just like the little hand on the ground.
Right.
Like, so I was like, well, maybe she's alive.
She's also smiling the entire time her mom
She
gets
was
gunned down.
smiling the whole time.
But that's
She's
like,
like,
'cause she's really
Mommy.
tiny. So I mean, I get that. She's really young.
Yeah.
But she's smiling the entire
But
scene.
not seeing any of that, not seeing just anything, made me think like, oh, maybe she's alive.
well, maybe
she's
it
gonna
was
come
supposed to be
back?
at the end when he asked,
dead. Your daughter? Dead.
yeah.
You? Dead.
Yeah, I maybe they were trying to like give you that moment where you realize, oh shit, the kid died too.
Right. So you're talking about the end with the general.
The general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that whole ending. He just walks up to him and just like
Not even a challenge. Blows his kneecaps off.
so he looks
awesome.
like the straw man.
Yep.
Okay. And then puts the shotgun to his head and it's just kind of like
That was one of my notes. Why isn't his head blown off?
yeah. Yeah.
You've already shown me gross bloody knees and skin faces.
Whatever that was. Yeah. It looked like he was like the straw man.
Blew his kneecaps and leg bones right off. Doesn't work well against skulls. though.
Lloyd doesn't remember that.
No, I am searching my mind right now.
It's zoomed out. So, but if you
Yeah.
look at his knees when he falls to the ground, his knees are completely blown out and his leg bones have shattered top and bottom.
Okay.
And he goes down, then he goes back on his, but then he's sitting on his knees, he's sitting there, and then he puts the gun to his head and blows his head off. But like it's just like he
Blood
got
on
shot
his
with like a
forehead,
45.
Right.
His head should be like eviscerated.
yeah.
It's the neatest shotgun shell ever.
This is the first time I noticed, because it is kind of panned out, it is the first time I actually noticed the kind of straw legs
Oh, okay, really?
when I watched it, yeah.
Well, this film was shot 178, but for the theatrical release,
I knew you were going to bring this up.
I hated it.
I know.
They matted it, they faked it, they put the black bars over it and pretended it was 239 in the theaters. That pisses me off.
Well, that's because that Rodriguez has to do all that shit. It's got to be grindhouse or it's got to look different. You know what I mean? I'm sure that's what he did it for.
I don't know if he would have done that. Well, maybe.
Why would it not just keep it the same aspect?
Why not
ratio
be
when you release it?
178? 178's, well, 178's like 185 a little bit, but still, I don't know. I hated that note. I was like, come on. One of my favorite notes is, and we talked about it already because it was digital, but one of my favorite notes is, if I can get this for you guys, is, this is the actual note written out. One of the first films to be shot on HD digital camera at 24 frames per second. I'm like, film? You just said it's a digital camera.
I did read that was this the first released or the first filmed? Other than Attack of the Clones.
It was one of the first. I think that's what they say.
Yeah.
It's like one of the first movies shot.
The thing I read specifically said the first, and that's why I kind of was like,
maybe for like Dimension or whoever put it out.
maybe independent or
Because
whatever.
Collateral tried to claim that.
Yeah.
But then Collateral kind of cheated as well, because one scene was not filmed all digital. But Collateral was claiming it would be the first all digital film.
So we haven't talked about Mickey Rourke in this film.
Oh yeah,
What do you guys first thoughts?
He saved the Chihuahua, so I'm all right with him.
his real actual pet too. By the way,
He had
that was his dog.
Oh, that was his?
he had a Chihuahua and a parrot, and he'd bring them to every premiere he went to.
Yeah, I liked him in it. It bothered me because it reminded me of what he was at one point, not just as an actor, but also, I mean, I'm not gonna pick on the guy, but
He's a celebrity.
he's a celebrity and he's gone down the route of like that kind of crazy, body modification stuff where
He's
he's like
eccentric,
he's
yeah.
unrecognizable, and in this movie, obviously he's had stuff done. And probably in 03, people made fun of it a lot, but they haven't seen what he looks like in 22. It was good. I liked his bit. I liked the character who, when Jorge FBI talks to him, where he's like a criminal, but he's just like, I've been dying for someone to fucking get me out of this.
That's right.
Like, I've been here for 8 years. I've done terrible things. And I also like the line where, he says, you're going to take me home, right? And he goes, and him too, right? I love the fact that he includes the dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you could tell he really, he's even willing to pay for his crimes in America.
Yeah, he just wants to go.
As long as he gets back to America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as he gets back there. And I don't know, I hope I understood it correctly, but I think Ruben Blades was just fucking him over the whole time.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Well, if he was FBI, he could still turn in evidence. Like San says, you're never
Right.
really retired. So if he actually got evidence against the cartel, I'm sure he would have handed it in. And
But
been
he
like,
still
"This isn't
he
a
still
woman."
was lying to him about
Lying to him
because he's like
He can't guarantee it.
you're
but-
gonna get me out, right? And he's like, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't know absolutely. He can
No.
go to them with this, and they're like,
But he probably
fuck it.
could have helped him. Yeah.
Yeah,
When they shoot Mickey Rourke in the back, he wouldn't let him use squibs because he liked the jacket, so they had to put a digital
Jesus Christ.
bullet. That's when he gets shot.
I mean, everything else, so many other bullet shots and stuff were digital in the film, so
Right.
might as well. Plus, he gets shot from the back, so you don't really need the squib at all. You just need the hole, because
Right.
everything else would be coming out the front.
Pardon me? So, I mean, do you guys like, oh, you know what? Before we go on, I was going to see if you liked any quotes, because you already said Mexican and Mexican. Or any other quotes that
Mexican
you
or
liked?
can't. The whole dialogue about killing the guy. You know, I have to make balance.
Oh, right.
So those would be my two quotes.
Oh, John's the cook stuff.
The cook stuff, yeah.
Absolutely.
Quotes.
Any other lines or quotes that you guys like stood out, or just kind of like we already covered them?
We covered most of them. Johnny Depp has a lot of good stuff in this.
Yeah,
just a lot of like random things. You know, like when he walks into the first restaurant and he's talking to Kukui. First thing he says, "Did you order my Mobile?" Like that's his priority. Was my food ordered? I laugh at that. And then when he says he has a line later on too, where he's talking to somebody on the cell phone and he says, "I'm walking the beat. Mexico's my beat."
Yeah,
you know, like little things like that. I like stuff like that.
I do like when he says, "I'm living La Vida Loca." Yeah, doing.
Yeah.
I really liked when he was talking with I forget his name, Cheech.
Oh, Bellini.
Yeah, and they started talking about the $50,000.
Yeah.
That whole conversation with, well, I offered you 50, but you didn't take it. Well, 50 is a little too much for what I'm doing here.
Right.
I thought 10 we could both live with. He goes, "You're not going to kill me over 10,000."
Yeah.
And Johnny Depp sort of half
whispers,
speaks and half mouths. Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Yes, I
And
fucking would.
even before that, when he's like, maybe 10,000 is too much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And he takes off his fake arm after he goes, "Yes, I would."
Yeah, that fake arm was...
She's supposed to
First he had a
cough.
knife, and then the second time he had a spoon.
Yeah.
I love when he's who is it? He's sitting with when he has the fake arm on and the waitress spills.
That's Bellini.
Oh,
'cause
right.
that's when
Bellini?
He kills him the second time.
But
That
when
spill
she
just cost
she
you
just
your life.
won't
You're done.
stop.
You're off the hook. You're done. You're finished.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're finished. You're done. It's okay. And then that spill just cost you your
Yeah.
life.
She was being aggressive.
Super.
She was.
That's what I'm saying. Super.
So Roger Ebert gave this film 3 out of 4 stars and wrote, like Leone's movie, the Rodriguez epic is more interested in the moment, in great shots, in surprises, and ironic reversals and close-ups of sweaty faces than in a coherent story.
That's what I was saying, the close-up of the faces.
Yeah. So you agree with that? We all agree with that?
Yeah. We're okay with the incoherent story.
I find that interesting that because the last movie we talked about, Toys, whenever that comes out, prior to this, we talked about how it was overly stylized and that was kind of to the detriment of the story. But in this one, I mean you three. No, I'm just kidding. But we're all saying that, oh no, it was so stylized that we don't care about the script. So I'm wondering, why is that different? Why are we saying that's different than a movie like Toys or any other movie that style over substance doesn't help?
Well, in Toys, the story started off so great.
Right.
And coherent. It's not incoherent. It just falters toward the end. This story starts off incoherent and stays incoherent.
So you're saying just because they don't even
So
make an
it's consistent.
attempt.
Yeah, it doesn't try to make you in an incoherent story. It purposely sets up an incoherent one so you can have a million double crosses.
Right.
Whereas Toys pretends to be a good movie and then goes,
But what about a movie like Shoot 'Em Up? Did you guys see Shoot 'Em
I
Up?
fucking hated that
Oh,
movie.
for God's sakes. Do you like anything?
I hated that.
Well, that movie is off the wall, right? You saw it?
I have not seen it, but I know you like it. You always
All
tell
right.
me to watch
So I'm going to talk to the mythical person over here who saw it.
Shoot 'em up as a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Okay,
Right.
but
Yeah.
that to me that had more story. I can't, it doesn't help to reference it because you guys don't know what I'm talking about. A.O. Scott wrote in his review of the New York Times. But in the end, the punched up editing and vibrant color schemes start to grow tiresome, and Mr. Rodriguez, bored with his own gimmickry and completely out of ideas, responds by pushing the violence to needlessly grotesque extremes. Do you agree with that, John?
I don't know. I didn't think any of it was that gratuitous or
Just when he
extreme.
blows the general away, that's about it.
And the head doesn't
I don't
even
think
explode.
needlessly
No.
grotesque
Yeah.
is...
Yeah, I didn't think it got really violent at the
Yeah,
end.
because
Not like
Field
a
wanted the
Tarantino
dead
film.
kid anyway, and Field didn't get the dead
I
kid.
know. Well, I mean, I'm going to compare it to like a Tarantino film. Tarantino films get violent.
Right.
And I don't think Rodriguez ever gets to that
No.
point. In
No, I
any
mean,
of his
we have a
movies.
character whose eyes are ripped out. You don't see it.
Right.
You know what
it's
I mean?
just
Like,
strawberry and Hershey syrup.
You could have seen it, but you didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but also that's a style. That's like the look of the character, the look of his transformation
Right.
into it's based on something. And I didn't write it down, but it's based on an old story, a Mexican story about,
To Totodor or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So
Drilling the eyes out, you mean?
well, the character, like what he's wearing, what the Depp's character's wearing at the end with all black with the,
The cowboy outfit.
yeah, and the glasses and the blood and the blind is blind. It's like it's referencing something. Yeah, absolutely.
The character in that film was stigmatized. So he did all that while stigmatized.
Right,
He's
right.
doing it blind.
Right. All right.
Cool.
So I guess, I mean, this movie you referenced it, John. It's about 20 years old. Why are we saying this movie's forgotten? And I'll start with Lloyd this time.
I think, well, in my case anyway, I saw the first two, and I guess I just never bothered to see the third one. I don't really know why. I don't know why I didn't see it.
Well, why do you
Maybe
think,
at that point I just didn't care anymore.
why do you think people aren't talking about it maybe as much? Because people like you could talk about Desperado with somebody, and they maybe will bring up El Mariachi because that was what it was kind
Maybe
of
it's
coming
so
from.
convoluted that it just didn't. Well, it actually made a lot of money, didn't it?
It did. Yep.
That surprised the fuck out of me. by the
So
way.
yeah,
Well, you're right after Pirates, the way this released. 'Cause
Yeah.
Pirates was summer. So now you're like...
The Johnny Depp factor.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
Johnny Depp. He's hot
Yeah.
now, yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Ask one of these guys.
Does domestic include? Domestic
Domestic doesn't
Texas
include
down
Mexico.
south. I mean,
Little
down south,
down
large
Texas,
population.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's got something to do. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. John, what do you think?
I agree. I think it's convoluted, and I think, if it was a true Desperado sequel that was 90% about El Mariachi, I think people might be talking about it more. I applaud him for it. He made a movie that's like a character film with a bunch of different characters, a really double-crossy plot, and he throws a character from his other movie into it. But he's not in enough of it to be the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Depp isn't the lead either. It's a peculiar fucking movie.
It is peculiar.
It's a peculiar fucking movie. I think also it's just, if you look back at Robert Rodriguez's line of work, okay, so Spy Kids movies are going to stand out because kids who were kids at the time probably loved them and bring them up with them. From Dusk Till Dawn's a fucking great movie. I dig Planet Terror.
What's his best film?
I would probably go From Dusk Till Dawn.
Dust to Dawn.
Yep.
From Dusk Till Dawn is my favorite vampire movie.
Mhm.
So,
Wow.
yeah. I
Of all
love that
time?
movie. Of all time, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We did the list one time. That was
Yeah.
my number
What
one.
was your list?
I don't remember. Number one was From Dusk Till Dawn.
Mine was Near Dark. By
Near
the
Dark.
way.
Over Bram Stoker's Dracula?
Yeah. Oh,
Interesting.
yeah. That wasn't on my list.
Near Dark?
Yeah, number
Gotcha.
one.
So
Lost Boys, maybe 100.
I know you hate
Yeah,
Lost Boys.
I don't like Lost Boys either.
Lost Boys is
Good.
great. Lost Boys is great. But I don't know. And again, I think kind of like we talked about in Toys, I don't think that there's anybody really searching this thing out. You know what I mean? This is the kind of movie that you might find interesting looking through Pluto, or Bluto as you called it. And you see the poster and you see Johnny Depp with a submachine gun.
He's in the middle of the poster.
Right.
Yeah.
And then maybe go, oh, fuck, I forgot about this movie.
Right.
I never saw this movie, but it just kind of dropped out. And I think amongst his stuff, it's got to be one of the, I don't know, least popular of his films.
Rodriguez?
Yeah.
I mean, I could make a claim for Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Or Machete. excuse me.
I would say Machete is
Machete's
way more
better.
popular than
Yeah.
this. And Machete
In-
sucked. I did not like
In
Machete.
a cult kind of way, but not in a making money kind of way.
No, but I still think more. I bet you if you said to more people, which one did you see, more people saw Machete. Like even like from TV or video.
I'm going to have to agree with that.
Why is The Faculty not getting any love here?
I think The Faculty for him was like a work for hire thing.
Yeah, that's what I think he's best at. Directing movies he doesn't write.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love his style.
everyone loves the Mandalorian episodes and the Boba Fett episodes he does, right?
No one likes the Boba Fett episodes.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about the ones I don't know if he directed all of them. I think he produced them.
He produced Boba
He
Fett.
produced it,
He
yeah.
did not
But
produce
everyone likes the
Mandalorian.
ones he directs. Well, besides that, what do you think, Butler? What is
I think it's less Robert Rodriguez and more Antonio Banderas. I think his star has faded a big time because I think it's partly because he had a heart attack and then he kind of dropped off and
son
stopped
of a
doing movies a
bitch.
lot.
What? How
he's-
dare you?
Yeah,
God.
and he's only just kind of coming back now. And I think
when
that
did he have a heart attack?
It was a while ago.
It was a while ago,
Yeah.
but he's starting to slowly come back into a lot of different films and stuff.
He plays
If you look at his
Picasso.
IMDb, he does a lot now. But I think that because his star kind of faded, he didn't do a Zorro every year. His action movie roles didn't take off, and then he kind of dropped off for perfectly reasonable reasons. But I think no one's searching Antonio Banderas. I think a lot of that a movie like this has to do with the star as much as the director. And Johnny Depp, you're looking up weirder roles. Although he's the right kind of weird for this role, you're looking up, Captain Jack Sparrow. You're looking up Sweeney Todd. You're looking up his claymation Tim Burton characters. Unfortunately, some people are looking up Willy Wonka, which is fucking garbage. You're looking
Charlie
up.
and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, whatever. It's garbage.
What about Edward Scissorhands?
And Edward Scissorhands. You're right. Yep.
It's a good movie.
Never a big fan of that
Do
one.
you like anything, John?
Ed Wood. That's a good movie.
Edward's
Okay.
good.
All right.
But again,
Ooh.
What? You asked me.
see that I have had to put up with for 14 seasons.
It's okay.
It's ending soon.
That's a lot of seasons, man.
Tell me about it. Continue.
I think that you're looking up weirder stuff for Johnny Depp, and you're not looking up more of his normal stuff, and I think that hurts it as well. The two stars there are just kind of Johnny Depp, you're looking up weirder stuff, and Antonio Banderas just kind of faded a little bit.
I had the heart attack.
What about the fact that Salma Hayek is already dead in this movie?
Well, I think that hurts. They want to get her in there, but they have to get her in there in flashbacks, like Keith Butler was saying.
Then you watch it, and you get disappointed.
I think because I'd rather watch Desperado, where she's
not dead.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
She's
I agree.
more in it.
I like Robert Rodriguez. I think Robert Rodriguez he can direct action really well. But sometimes his action is really chaotic. There's no flow to it. There's no fluidity. Like people are just falling, and then they just cut to another scene. It's like, it feels to me like a student film sometimes, like a lot of the action. Let's just shoot a bunch of stuff.
Stop from like El Mariachi to this. They're pretty much the same kind of action with a big.
That's his style. That's fine. But my thing is like a movie to carry on in terms of like where we keep talking about it. We sat here and talked about Hard Boiled and The Killer and John Woo stuff, and we talked about The Raid, and those movies keep going because they have great action and it's memorable action. I just don't think his action is memorable. In this movie, I like the way Antonio Banderas jumps back and kicks his feet out and shoots. Like, that's a really cool moment.
All his kickflips and stuff. Yeah.
That's 2 times. Everything else is just, I've seen it before. Like, I don't, that's why I'm saying maybe it's forgotten. It doesn't continue on like people like, oh, you need to see this film, because there's nothing in it that's really stands out.
I think you said it and it kind of sparked it in me. There's probably a lot of people that like look at this and go, oh, I'm going to check this out, or check this out 20 years ago. It's not an action movie.
No, it's not.
No.
It's a character movie with a lot of talking heads.
Right.
That every like 20, 25 minutes you get a not so great action bit.
A random not so like,
Right.
I'm going to go fight Kukui because I need to practice fighting, basically.
Right.
It should be, if it's going to be a Sergio Leone style film, it needs to be longer and it needs to be more dramatic. And I don't think he does that. He doesn't want to do that. Rodriguez doesn't want to do those types of films. And that's fine. That's not his thing. So that's why I say, like, I think he's a better director than a writer. I think if somebody wrote that script that he wanted, like, and says to him, this is what I want to do.
Here's my 45-page treatment.
And he could play with the script and do what he wants. I think you'd really get great action scenes. Plus you'd get a really well-written film. And
hey,
I think
Quentin, you want me to do this? Here's 45 pages. Make me a script.
Absolutely. I mean, that's how I think. I don't know. I mean, that's why I think maybe it didn't
explode.
I think a lot of like when we say it's forgotten is because they're not being handed down to the next generation in terms of like shared. Like, you know what I mean? Like no one's who's coming up, who's 20. Oh, I like movies. Oh, you should watch Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
I would never.
Right.
Well, that's another question we always ask. Who would you show this to? No one. Because there's not. I can't. I love this movie, and I would show it to no one.
Right. I literally forgot I owned this DVD for like 20 years. Literally forgot.
I would show somebody Desperado and I would probably show like a filmmaker El Mariachi and be like, they made this for $7,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it can be done,
which is way less than even Evil Dead was made for.
Right. And that's impressive to me. Like, and so then I'd be like, and you should watch Desperado because then they gave him money and look what he was able to do.
Right.
But that's it. I mean, Once Upon a Time in Mexico though, no.
All right. It's forgotten. Final word.
Stamped.
Butler, where can they find us?
You can find us at Forgotten Cinema Podcast or ForgottenEntertainment.com. While you're there, check out all the other great podcasts and videos we have there. If you're a fan of John and Lloyd, you can find there on the QT podcast where they talk about Quentin Tarantino films. A good friend of Robert Rodriguez.
Absolutely.
And you find us on social medias, all the podcast platforms, and join us in the lobby on Facebook where we talk about all the different kind of films. Let us know what you think of Once Upon a Time in Mexico or El Mariachi or George Clooney or What at Dusk Till Dawn. Well, we went on a lot of tangents this episode, so let us know.
And then we're coming back one more time for this, I guess, grouping of takeovers. We're going to be doing the Osterman weekend, which I've never seen.
Me neither.
I've never heard
Me
of
neither.
it. So that's going to be an interesting one. Have you seen it before?
No.
All right, then.
Let's do it.
right now. All right, so that's next time. Until then, everyone, thanks for listening. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Takeover of The Pint.